Here we have example 3 for completing the square. We have 3x squared minus 12x plus 5 equaling 0. Hopefully you're starting to see the pattern in what we're doing. We look at the a, b, and c values here. We want to pull the a value out so we have x squared all by itself, so it's isolated. So I'll go 3x squared. Now if I pull 3 from 12, it takes me to minus 4x. And this positive 5 always gets kicked out to the outside. Now to complete this square, I look at the middle term that's in my brackets and I cut it in half. Half of negative 4 is negative 2. And I square that negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. And I have to look at how this 4 is actually affecting the equation. When I added a 4 here, because of this multiplier, 3 times 4, I really added 12 to the problem. So 3 times 4 is 12. I balance it by subtracting 12. And then the last step is simply to factor this down, condense it as much as we can. And so we'll write this as 3, and I break this down. What times itself produces x squared? X. What times itself produces 4? 2 and negative 2. I'll go with the negative 2 because that was what was half the middle term. So I go minus 2 quantity squared. And then the 5 minus 12 is negative 7. That's completing the square. We'll go ahead and roll with an example 4 here. On example 4, we're going to throw a fraction in here. And again, we're just looking at how this doesn't really affect the method. You just have to worry about what fractions do to the problem. And so I've got 1/2 x squared minus 3x minus 4. Just like the previous example, I'm going to isolate that a term. So I'm going to pull the 1/2 out. That leaves me with an x squared. And then I have to think about, if I'm taking half out of a negative 3, when I pulled a positive 3 out, notice what happened to the middle term. I got smaller. When I pulled 3 out of this, the middle term got smaller. If you pull a fraction out, it'll actually get bigger because it'll multiply. In other words, 1/2 times what is negative 3? Negative 6x. Half of negative 6x is negative 3x. And then I'll leave this space empty. I'll kick the negative 4 out. And we want to complete our square. So we look at this middle term. We cut it in half, which is negative 3. I square it, which would be positive 9. So I'll put a plus 9 right here. And I have to ask myself, did I really add 9 to the problem? In this case, no. I really only added 4.5. Because half of 9 is 4.5. So when I add 4.5, I have to subtract 4.5 to balance it out. And then I want, as a last step, to condense this down. I'll go 1/2 x minus 3 quantity squared. You owe me 4, you owe me 4.5, you owe me 8 1/2. And so there is the completed square.